Hello my dear students. Today in this session I am going to explain regarding maternal pelvis. Maternal pelvis is a gynecoid pelvis in which the pelvic brim is round in shape. Maternal pelvis is formed anteriorly by symphysis pubis, posteriorly by sacrum and coccyx, and laterally by two hip bones. So, in this session, I will deal with the different aspects of maternal pelvis such as bones, joints, ligaments and diameters which are showing relationship with fetus. Now, let's have a look on the bones of maternal pelvis. There are two hip bones in the maternal pelvis. Each of them is formed by another three bones. That is, superior portion is formed by ilium and lower or inferior portion is formed by ischium and the anterior portion is formed by the pubic bone. Now I will show you the ilium and the parts of ilium. Ilium forms the flared part present on the superior aspect of the pelvis. In superior border is the iliac crust which ends here, that is termed as anterior superior iliac spine. Just below that another spine, that is anterior inferior iliac spine. Then posteriorly the iliac crust ends here and this area is termed as posterior superior iliac spine, and just below that is the another spine, that is posterior inferior iliac spine. There is a notch on the posterior aspect of the ilium that is termed as greater sciatic notch, through which the greater nerve, that is sciatic nerve, enters into the pelvis. The anterior surface of the ilium forms a depressed area which is known as the iliac fossa. Inferior to iliac fossa, one line, that is arcuate line. Later on it has got clinical significance because it forms the important landmark in the pelvic brim. Then body of the ilium attaches with the another bone, that is the ischium. The ischium has body which consists of roughened area that is known as ischial tuberosity. And anterior to that ramus, and this ramus and pubic bone forms an opening which is known as obturator foramen, which is covered by obturator membrane through which the blood vessels and nerves enters into the pelvis. Then posterior to ischium, one projection is there. It is known as ischial spine. It has got clinical significance because through which we can easily assess the station of the baby during the normal delivery. Then anterior portion of the hip bone is formed by pubic bone. It has got three parts: superior ramus, inferior ramus and body parts. The body part where the two rami meet together, that is the two superior and inferior rami meet together, that is the body part of the pubic bone. The anterior border of the pubic bone, that is the pubic crust. Then slightly lateral to that is pubic tubercle. From pubic tubercle, there is a line that is posteriorly and laterally, that is pectineal line, which later on continuation with arcuate line and forms the iliopectineal line. Together these three hip bones, that is ilium, ischium and pubic bone, forms a socket-like structure called acetabulum. To this acetabulum, the head of the femur is attached and there is a notch through which the blood vessels and nerves enters and exit into the maternal pelvis. So here we have seen the hip bones. It is formed by ilium, that is the superior flared part, then ischium, that is the inferior or lower portion, and through which you can easily sit through the ischium, and next anterior portion, that is the two pubic bones. So these all are the parts of the two hip bones. Next comes posterior aspect of the pelvic bone, that is sacrum. Sacrum is a triangular bone and is formed by 5 fused vertebrae. The anterior border is smooth and curved, and the posterior, that is the back portion, is more roughened because it gives attachment to the various muscles. Then the superior part of the sacrum, that is anteriorly projected structure, that is termed as sacral promontory. On the sacrum, in the lateral aspect, there are two auricular shaped structure which extends from the sacral promontory, and this is termed as sacral ala. Anteriorly, there are 4 transverse lines. These transverse lines showing fusion of the vertebral bodies of the sacrum, and at the end of the line there are 4 pairs of anterior foramina, and these foramina are continuation with the posterior foramina through which the blood vessels and nerves enters into the pelvis. Next, I will show you the another bone which is present posteriorly on the maternal pelvis, that is coccyx. It is a triangular shaped bone and situated at the lower portion of the maternal pelvis. It is fused with 4 vertebrae. Coccyx attached to sacrum through sacrococcygeal joint. In female, the coccyx is directed inferiorly, and this joint is more flexible in female so that fetus can easily pass through it. So here in this model, we have seen the bones of maternal pelvis, that is 2 hip bones, in that ilium, ischium and the pubic bone, and posteriorly sacrum and coccyx. Now let's see the joints of maternal pelvis. Joints are the points where 2 bones meet together. In this maternal pelvis, there is one symphysis pubis present in between 2 pubic bone. Then there are paired sacroiliac joint, that is articulation between sacrum and ilium. On both sides, there are sacroiliac joint on the both side, and there is one sacrococcygeal joint that connects sacrum to the coccyx. So this joint is more flexible in female. So it provides a room to the pelvic outlet so that the fetus can easily pass out during the normal delivery. So these all are the joints of maternal pelvis. One symphysis pubis, paired sacroiliac joint and one sacrococcygeal joint. Next comes the ligaments of maternal pelvis. The ligaments are the structures which helps the joint together. So there is one interpubic ligament which present in between two pubic bone, and there are various sacroiliac ligament on the both side which connects or joins sacrum and ilium together. These sacroiliac joints are present on the both anterior and the posterior aspect of the maternal pelvis. And then there is sacrococcygeal ligament which joins sacrum and coccyx together. Then another two ligaments are also there, that is sacrotuberous ligament that connects from sacrum to the ischial tuberosity, and sacrospinous, that is sacrum to the ischial spine. These all are the ligaments of the maternal pelvis, such as interpubic ligament, paired sacroiliac ligaments, sacrococcygeal ligament, and sacrotuberous and sacrospinous ligaments. Next, I will show you the different parts of pelvis. The parts include pelvic brim or inlet, then cavity and outlet. First, I will deal with the pelvic brim. This is the area where the fetus comes in contact with the maternal pelvis, that is the pelvic brim. Then the pelvic brim consists of different bony points. These bony points are termed as landmarks of the pelvis. So there are 9 landmarks present on the pelvic brim. I will show you the 9 landmarks. First one, upper border of the symphysis pubis, then pubic crest, pubic tubercle, pectineal line and iliopectineal eminence, iliopectineal line, sacroiliac joint, then anterior border of sacral ala and sacral promontory. These are the 9 landmarks present on the pelvic brim. These 9 landmarks are same on the both sides. On the right and the left side, there are 9 landmarks present on the pelvic brim. Next comes the cavity. Another part of the maternal pelvis is cavity. It is rounded in structure and bounded above by pelvic brim and below by obstetrical outlet. That is the another part of the pelvis, that is cavity. Then last bony part of the maternal pelvis is obstetrical outlet. So there are mainly 3 parts in the maternal pelvis, that is pelvic brim or inlet, cavity and obstetrical outlet. Next, let's see the diameters of the 3 parts of maternal pelvis. So in the pelvic brim or inlet, there are 3 diameters are there, that is anterior posterior, transverse and oblique diameters. So in the anterior posterior diameter there are again 3 diameters, and these are true conjugate or anatomical conjugate, obstetric conjugate and diagonal conjugate. Now I will show you the true conjugate or anatomical conjugate, that is the posterior diameter of the maternal pelvis. The true conjugate or anatomical conjugate is the distance between the midpoint of the sacral promontory to the upper border of the symphysis pubis. Midpoint of the sacral promontory to the upper border of the symphysis pubis, and this measures about 11 centimeters. So next anterior posterior diameter is the obstetric conjugate. It is the exact space available for the fetus to pass through the brim and enters into the pelvic cavity. It extends from the midpoint of the sacral promontory to the midline of the symphysis pubis, and this measures about 10 centimeters. This is the obstetric conjugate. Then next anterior posterior diameter is diagonal conjugate. It is the distance from the midpoint of the sacral promontory to the lower border of the symphysis pubis, and this measures about 12 centimeter. This diagonal conjugate has got clinical significance and easily measurable during the bimanual examination. Next diameter in pelvic brim is oblique diameter. There are 2 oblique diameter, that is right and left. Right indicates right side of the maternal pelvis, that is right oblique diameter. It starts from right sacroiliac joint till opposite side of the iliopectineal eminence. This is the right oblique diameter, and on the left side, left oblique diameter, it starts from left sacroiliac joint till the opposite side of the iliopectineal eminence. So there are 2 oblique diameters are there, right and left oblique diameter, and it measures about 11 centimeters. Third diameter of pelvic brim is transverse diameter. It extends from farthest point between the 2 iliopectineal line. So it is the widest diameter in the pelvic brim, and this measures about 13 centimeters. So this is the transverse diameter of the pelvic brim. So there are mainly 3 diameters in the pelvic brim: anterior posterior, oblique and transverse diameter. Next diameter of the pelvic cavity. It is formed by curved canal, the pelvic cavity, and its anterior posterior diameter extends from junction of second or third sacral vertebrae till the midpoint of symphysis pubis, and this measures about 12 centimeters. And its transverse and oblique diameter of the pelvic cavity cannot be measured exactly because the points are overlying to the soft tissues. So the pelvic cavity consists of only the anterior posterior diameter. This anterior posterior diameter only we can measure exactly, that is 12 centimeters. Now let's see the diameters of pelvic outlet. There are obstetrical and anatomical conjugate in pelvic outlet. The anterior posterior diameter in the obstetrical conjugate extends from the tip of the sacrum to the lower border of the symphysis pubis. This measures about 11 centimeter. This is the anterior posterior diameter of the pelvic outlet. And next diameter in obstetrical conjugate is transverse diameter, that is lies between two ischial spines, and it is termed as bispinous diameter. It is measures about 10.5 centimeters. This is the transverse diameter of the pelvic outlet, that is bispinous diameter. In the anatomical conjugate of pelvic cavity, the anterior posterior diameter extends from tip of the coccyx till lower border of the symphysis pubis. This is the anterior posterior diameter of the anatomical conjugate. This measures about 13 centimeter. And the transverse diameter of the pelvic cavity in the anatomical conjugate extends between inner border of the ischial tuberosity, and this measures about 11 centimeters. So, the obstetrical conjugate has a clinical importance because this is the exact pelvic outlet through which the fetus must pass during the normal delivery. So, here in this session, I have explained the practical aspects of maternal pelvis, in which bones, joints, ligaments and diameters which are showing relationship with the fetus.